When we talk about human arrogance and desire, one term that often comes up is the Tower of Babel. This story is found in the book of Genesis in the Old Testament, where humans attempt to build a tower to challenge God's authority. Angered by this, God confuses their language and disrupts their society. The symbolism and mystery of the Tower of Babel have inspired many over the ages. In the past, it was depicted in paintings, and today it appears in fantasy novels and movies. But did you know that the Tower of Babel is also a subject of long-standing debate among scholars? The debate revolves around whether the Tower of Babel was not just a myth, but an actual historical structure. Some argue that one of the ziggurats found in Mesopotamian regions like Iran and Iraq might be the Tower of Babel. So, did the Tower of Babel really exist? Or is it just a fable created to warn people about the dangers of ambition and pride? Come, let's build a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole earth. It's known that the construction of the Tower of Babel was first initiated by Nimrod, the first king after Noah's great flood. The survivors of the flood, fearful of being scattered and judged by God again, wanted to build a tower high enough to avoid another deluge. Additionally, they believed that building a tower high enough to reach the heavens would bring them closer to God and put them on equal footing with Him. However, their ambitions were never realized because the tower was never completed. According to the Bible, this was because God was angered by their arrogance and decided to confuse their language, creating dozens of different languages overnight. Suddenly unable to communicate with one another, the people could no longer cooperate to build the tower. They then dispersed, forming different nations based on their new languages. This is how, according to the Bible, humanity came to have such a diversity of languages. The word Babel itself means confusion, reflecting the chaos that ensued. Thus, the Tower of Babel is often interpreted as the Tower of Confusion. This is the story of the Tower of Babel as explained in the Bible. The earlier story is interesting, but the reason the Tower of Babel has been a subject of debate is because there are historical records of people who claim to have seen it. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus, around 400 BC, wrote in his works that he had seen the rebuilt Tower of Babel with his own eyes. According to Herodotus, about 1,000 years after the original tower's collapse, King Nebuchadnezzar II rebuilt it exactly as the original was designed. He left detailed records of its reconstruction, claiming, "The tower is still here. It measures 180 cubits in width, length, and height, with a temple on top and a spiral passage encircling all the levels." Herodotus's account also mentioned that the tower had been built and destroyed multiple times, and that 85 million bricks were used in its construction. When these records became known, scholars began long-term expeditions to find the Tower of Babel. The detailed descriptions led to the emergence of potential sites believed to be the Tower of Babel, one of which was the Malwiya Tower in northern Sumeria. Built in 851 AD, the Malwiya Tower, with its 52-meter height and unique spiral staircase encircling the structure, was often considered a likely candidate for the Tower of Babel. Medieval and Renaissance depictions of the Tower of Babel often showed a similar spiral design, resembling the Malwiya Tower. However, this was just speculation, and without definitive evidence, the Tower of Babel remained a mystery. But at the end of the 19th century, a discovery shocked the academic world. Evidence was found that could potentially prove the Tower of Babel's existence. In 1899, archaeologist Robert Koldewey began excavations in Iraq in search of the legendary Tower of Babel. This excavation lasted for 13 years, and Koldewey achieved significant success. He unearthed the Ishtar Gate and the palace walls of Babylon, buried 20 meters underground, bringing the fabled city of Babylon into the present. Although Koldewey hoped to find the Tower of Babel through these historic discoveries, no trace of the tower was found despite extensive excavations. However, one day, Koldewey witnessed an unusual sight. Locals were extracting bricks from the ground. Sensing something significant, he began excavations at a site known as Etemenanki. Soon, the massive foundations of a rectangular building emerged, leading Koldewey to believe this could be the remnants of the Tower of Babel. The foundation's width was 91.5 meters, just 1.5 meters short of the dimensions recorded by Herodotus. In 1913, an event brought Koldewey's claims into the spotlight. A clay tablet detailing the precise dimensions of the Tower of Babel was discovered. This tablet, believed to be a textbook from the Babylonian era when paper was not available, contained a problem involving the dimensions of the tower. It stated that the base and height were each 91 meters. This discovery gave Koldewey's claims even more credibility. In the 2010 another piece of evidence related to the real Tower of Babel was revealed. A historian in London, through a documentary, showcased a stone tablet with a drawing of what is believed to be the tower. Experts suggested that the figure depicted on the tablet was Nebuchadnezzar II, and that the ziggurat-like structure might be the Tower of Babel. Upon close examination of the tablet, a 7-tiered tower can be seen. Even more intriguing were the cuneiform inscriptions. These inscriptions read Etemenanki, Ziggurat, and Kadingira. The term Kadingira at the bottom translates to Babylon in Sumerian. The meaning of these inscriptions is the Ziggurat, the Tower of Babel, the foundation of heaven and earth, indicating that the Tower of Babel might have indeed existed. However, there are opposing views as well. The main point of contention is whether the dates of the discovered evidence align with the biblical timeline of the Tower of Babel. This discrepancy means that the truth about the Tower of Babel as described in the Bible remains uncertain. Despite the various records, the actual existence of the legendary Tower of Babel is still shrouded in mystery. Did the tower, which symbolized human arrogance and invoked divine punishment, really exist? Or is it merely a cautionary tale meant to warn against hubris? This has been a look into the tales surrounding the Tower of Babel.